Thank you. For those of you who don't know, I'm Michelle Lee. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, an EFT practitioner, and a soul practitioner. And my specialty has become self-love. And it has become self-love through my own journey of self-love. I've been a metaphysical student for about 20 years, since I was about 16 years old. My mom got into metaphysics, and I really started studying then. And reading all the metaphysical books, the spiritual teachers, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, you probably know these names. They all talk about you need to love yourself. And that became real annoying to me, because I knew I needed to love myself, and I didn't know how to get from loathing myself to loving myself, and nobody was telling me how. And I couldn't find anything to tell me how to do it. And so I made that my mission. I needed to learn how to love myself so I could teach my clients how to love themselves. I started out in hypnosis, in hypnotherapy, doing smoking and weight loss. It's the bread and butter of the industry. It's easy. I didn't have to get into all the emotional stuff. You know, to teach them not to eat what they're not supposed to eat and to quit smoking. Those things are easy. But that's not what I got. That's not what the universe sent me. And I began wondering, why do people do things that sabotage themselves anyway? Why do we smoke cigarettes? I mean, that is a slow suicide. Why do we overeat? Why do we eat the foods that do not support our ideal weight? It's self-loathing. It's all self-loathing. And so as I'm working with clients, and I'm working especially with women, but it's the same with men, I would tell them, okay, you need to take 15 minutes a day to take care of yourself. And they couldn't do it. They just couldn't bring themselves to do it. So I went into meditation, prayer and meditation. And one of the questions I asked myself is, if I did love myself, how would I feel? How would I present myself? How would I speak? How would I walk? You know, what would be the thoughts going in my mind? And then I thought, okay, if I was there, where would I have gotten that? Where would I have gotten all those things? And so I looked back, well, in an ideal world, I would have gotten all that information from my parents, from my mom and dad. And then I thought, okay, well, it's not an ideal world. We don't get that from our mom and dad. So if I couldn't get it from my mom and dad, who would I get it from? Well, I would get it from Spirit. I would get that from God. And then I took it a little further. We are God. So who does my sense of self-love? I am the divine expression of God. So my sense of self-love actually comes from me. Does that make sense? So the first thing I did for self-love was create the Fall in Love with Yourself CD, hypnosis CD, which you can get during break or after the class. It's available. That was my first step. And that's a fabulous journey to getting what we needed as children. Now, also what became aware to me was, obviously, if I am my source of self-love, that's a good sign. Everybody turn your cell phones off. I also became very aware that we are love. Our divine expression is love. We are naturally love. We are naturally blissful. We are naturally prosperous. We are naturally happy. These are our natural states. We are naturally healthy. I know this because I've read so many books. All the metaphysical books tell us that. You are naturally abundant. You are naturally healthy. Okay, so what is keeping us from that? What is keeping us from experiencing that? Does anybody know? Anybody have any ideas? Yes?
Fear.
Fear. Number one barrier to self-love. Anything else? Anybody else got any ideas?
A disruption in your nervous system.
Sure, but what creates that? What creates that? Right. Anger is not love. Guilt is another huge barrier to self-love. If we feel guilty, we are not loving ourselves. We're believing we have done something bad, that we are something bad, and guilt leads to pain. And we'll get more into that. There's guilt and fear, anger. Can anybody think of any other barrier to self-love? Yes?
Criticism, judgment.
Criticism. Excellent. Criticism of who? Ourselves. Excellent. And there's one more. And it kind of goes with guilt.
Yeah.
Shame. How many of you were raised on shame? Shame on you. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you're just now arriving, grab the handouts and have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. So what I want to do is define love. Tell me what love is. Any ideas? Appreciation.
That love is the absence of fear.
Love is the absence of fear. Absolutely. Do you know there are only two real emotions? What are those emotions?
Love and fear.
Love and fear. So that really simplifies our work in here. When you're thinking, well, I need to tap out disappointment, I need to tap out anger, I need to tap out shame, it's all fear. It really simplifies everything. It really simplifies everything. And I found that in working with clients, everything is from self-love, lack of self-love. So if no matter what we're talking about, if I get clients coming in and they want to say they want to meet their soulmate, or they want that ideal relationship, or they want to lose weight, or they want to stop smoking, or they want to stop procrastinating, it's all self-love. Everything. And I've come to discover that self-love really is our only path to enlightenment. Self-love is our path to God. Because when we commune with ourselves, because we are the divine expression of God, we are communing with God. When we are taking time for ourselves, we're actually taking time for Spirit in our lives. So it really simplifies everything, which was a total relief for me. Because when I was looking at my life, and I'm ending a marriage, and I'm wondering how I'm going to support my children, and I'm wondering how I'm going to maintain a standard of living that I've become used to, it became very overwhelming. Very overwhelming. But when I really simplified it, it was all about, wait a minute, I am the expression of God. You are the expression of God. We are the expression of God. And if I am the expression of God, what does God fear? Nothing. What does God need? Nothing. You know, so this really simplified it. So it became just a matter of allowing Spirit to work through me. Because I could not imagine that God would ever want my children to suffer because of decisions I'm making. The decisions I'm making, I am divinely guided to make. The questions I'm asking, there are answers to. When you ask a question, the answer is born. You cannot have one without the other. We live on a planet of duality. Hot, cold, happy, sad, love, fear, question, answer. You may think for a moment that you don't know the answer, but that's just a story. Now, those are words you're going to hear a lot today. That is just a story. I said, we are the divine expression of God. Who drains God's energy? Who causes God pain? No one. Nobody. And that's what I'm here to bring to you today, to remind you that you are the master of your life. You are the master of your emotions. It can seem like we are not the master of emotions. It can seem like that thoughts come into our minds and we have these emotions and we're shot for the day. But with EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, it gives you a powerful, powerful tool to release those emotions.